right, and welcome to Fastbreak Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish. I'm joined right now by my buddies through the miracle of computer phone. I'm joined by Kelly Dwyer. Kelly, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Also joined by Dave DuFour. Dave, how's it going?
Great. Woke up this morning, Dave DuFour. Slept last night with the window open. Life
Nice.
was great.
Are you saying you woke up as yourself and that was
that's always a great day.
Once again, this is not a quantum leap situation where I woke up in someone else's body. Still me, still winning at life.
That's right.
That's great to hear. Right. I didn't expect, honestly, to have a full three-man booth today. John, he'll be back. We're going to do a show with him. I'm going to do a show with him on Thursday. John's speaking at some music conference all week. I asked him to send me a link or video of the speeches he's doing. He refused. I have not. I want to see John give whatever presentation he's doing. I want to, just release that as our show, but I don't know if he's not allowed or something. I don't know. But John will be back on Thursday. Also announcements, Kelly and I, and also Caitlin Cooper will be doing a playback tonight, Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central for the NBA Draft Lottery. The most exciting minute in sports. It's better than the Kentucky Derby for me. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but we'll be doing that, playback.tv/Fastbreak Breakfast. Before we talk about the lottery, we're going to talk about the lottery. We're going to talk about the conference finals. But we have breaking news right now. The ruthless NBA coaching carousel. It's not even a carousel at this point. It's like a chopping block. Doc Rivers just got fired. We can start there. Actually, we can't start there. You guys would have shut me down. We got to start with breakfast. We got to start with breakfast. It's Fast Break Breakfast. Kelly, why don't you go first? What breakfast have you had today?
At about 3 a.m, I absconded down to the kitchen and opened the comically loud cake holder opener and had myself a delicious slice of German chocolate cake.
Is the cake holder a constant? Is it just always filled with cake, or was there cake for a special occasion?
Oh, it's gotten to be a trope, I believe. But it's the plastic cake holder that you buy at the store, and it's almost like buying a new pair of headphones or a Walkman back in the day. It's just really molded, thick plastic.
The trick is to use a can opener on those.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
The trick is finish it in the first night, which we didn't. Yesterday was my birthday.
Oh, it was your birthday,
Happy
Kelly.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Kelly.
You. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it because it's rather large and I took 2 dents into it and it's German. It's Teutonic and it's just unmovable. So that was a delicious breakfast.
It's invading the borders of neighboring foods. Is that what's happening?
This whole, the cutting board it's on is kind of like Poland, real flat, no hills, no natural sort of defenses. So yeah, I'm keeping an eye on it. There's no
camaraderie though.
Cake for breakfast is definitely right in my wheelhouse.
At 3 a.m. though.
Yeah.
3 a.m. is perfect.
That's not breakfast.
Well, he broke a fast. It works.
Did you go back to
fast?
sleep?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Kind of.
Would we call it sleep, Dave?
I don't know.
Don't even know what that means.
It was 4 hours, so that's a nap. That's pushing nap.
Yeah,
I'm saying I had breakfast and a nap.
The technology I need, Kelly, is the silent the silent food openers, food containers that open silently. I need to wave my hand like Star Trek, but I don't even want to whoosh. I just want the door to slide right open. My wife has unbelievable hearing. And if I eat at any moment of the day, and if she's in the house, if she's asleep, she'll know. If she's awake, she'll there's no way I can open anything in the house without her knowing. So it's kind of, I don't know. I have to weigh that. Is she going to be mad if I open a bag of jelly beans right now? I'm going for it. Yeah.
That's how Keith stays so skinny.
I don't know.
It's the
fear
of
the
his
fear
wife.
of she's going to hear this, man. She's gonna hear this. Like
the
I was
loudest foods make the most noise. Like
I was drinking water, and she's like, "You're drinking kind of loud." I'm like, "You have an affliction."
Oh no!
I was like, "Your hearing is just too good."
Don't gulp your water.
Well, that's the thing. Where I was self-conscious about it because she was in the room nearby. I'm like, she's gonna say something because it's quiet in the house right now, and I'm just gonna try to get this down my gullet without a loud noise. And yeah, she needs. I've told her many times, you need to do about 9 years of podcasting and damage the old eardrums, build up a nice base layer of earwax where it just deadens everything. And I feel like she'd be happier. Dave, what was your breakfast?
Well, I mean, I don't really do breakfast.
But what's the first thing you ate? Or what's it going to be?
Little black coffee.
All right, fine.
Cold brew. Shout out to Stoke cold brew. Very nutty. It's good.
Nutty cold brew. Doc Rivers got fired, guys. The coaching guillotine continues. This felt expected. I mean, what are you supposed to do, first of all, when you amass this record of what Doc's now blown 7 3-2 leads or something? Or is it 9? I can't even remember anymore. He's definitely lost 10 straight times when his team had 3 wins in the second round and he had a chance to advance to the conference finals. He has by far the most Game 7 losses as a coach ever. He has the worst playoff record ever in closeout games. He's 17-33 in potential closeout games. That's including every round of the playoffs. I mean, beating the Celtics was a hard ask. Beating the Celtics with Embiid maybe laboring out there, because of course Embiid came back early from this knee injury. But what are your thoughts, Dave, on the Celtics? Daryl Morey finally, I say finally, but choosing to move on from Doc Rivers.
I mean, I feel like this was coming as soon as Daryl was hired, to be honest with you, which is funny because they got the job, basically around the same time. It's just they hired Doc first. Does Doc Rivers seem like a Daryl Morey coach? He made it work because they have a decent team. You have Joel Embiid, so you're going to stay in the top half of the playoff mix. But I don't know. This felt kind of inevitable, and losing this series, of course, in the way that they did. I mean, they really rolled over in a Game 7.
It would have, Dave, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. It would have been better for Doc if they lost in like 5 or 6 in my mind. It would have been better for Doc if they lost Game 5. If they lost Game 1 without Joel Embiid, I feel like it's better for Doc because coming into the series, everyone was picking the Celtics in 5 or 6. And so if you don't add another, I blew a 3-2 lead again, I feel like if you don't add that, it's somehow better for Doc. Maybe they would have fired him anyway. I mean,
but Embiid's hurt. I mean, and he was very visibly hurt. And defensively, he just was a shell of what we've seen out of him.
Speaking of breakfast.
And so, look, this was a decision that was likely made weeks ago. And the way that they lost that Game 7 just gave them a great excuse. All right, well, time to move on. And that stat coming out, I mean, we're going to find out later on that, the 76ers statistics team put that 17-33 thing into the zeitgeist so that it was a softer blow when Doc got fired.
I've been throwing those stats out for years, Dave. The Sixers are not paying me to do so. I wish they would.
They're slipping them to you.
I wish they would.
Under the table. But the funniest thing is that already the coaching search list has come out, and the Sixers, despite having a totally different team than the other teams looking for coaches, are all looking at the same guys, man. This is the weirdest thing about the league is there's nobody's doing any due diligence looking for new CEOs to run these little companies. They're just like, well, we've seen this guy do it. Let's go get him and see if he can do better here. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Kelly, what do you think about what Dave is saying as far as the retread or the rehiring of coaches? I'm sympathetic somewhat to it. Like Budenholzer is proven as he has the maybe postseason criticisms, but the man, you could say, revolutionized the NBA game as far as moving to the basketball everyone plays now. He has an unbelievable regular season record, won a title not too long ago. If you give Budenholzer a shot, I mean, maybe the Monty Williams questions, Nick Nurse, I don't know. These are all the names thrown out there by Woj in the last couple of minutes. Also, Sam Cassell, who's never had a head coaching job.
He's up and he's yelling. He's ready.
What do you think, Kelly? Kelly, what do you think about the tendency of these teams to go with just proven guys?
They interview well. And it makes sense. You want someone who has been there before and who has some, the agent stuff has to get into it. But just to piggyback off of what Dave said, it's an incredibly important position in the entire organization. It is outrageously important, and these teams cling to these like 4, 5, 6, whatever coaches are making $2 million a year contracts. Like, we mustn't fire them, we mustn't get rid of them because I don't know, it'll look bad or it'll be we it's such an important job, and they make like the 10th of what the big star makes, and you hang out. Like, why was he on that team for that long? Why was Daryl Morey hired 3 weeks after Doc was hired, or whenever it was? Like, why are we doing this in 2021 or 2020 or whenever that all went down? That's some very Dan Snyder Washington Commanders stuff. Like, Bruce Smith is going to be in next. These are like staples that we ignored, and then we cling to it forever. And that bugs me as much as going back to the retreads. With the retreads, like, you notice, everything has a caveat. Everyone that gets fired was a coach of the year 18 months before. That's fine. I understand Budenholzer was a huge part of those old Spurs teams. Like, you could say he revolutionized a couple of different things, going back a third time. I think he was on that 05 staff with Mike Brown, where the defense that they did was the defense that they played for the Knicks until Tibbs came along. There's always a reason to hire a last guy. Hubie Brown, did nothing but talk trash to the entire NBA for 30 years and then was hired out of nowhere in 2002 and took the Grizzlies to a coach of the year situation. But yeah, Dave is right. Find someone new. Find someone that's not going to go golfing with Phil Mickelson at the LIV tournament, like our buddy Dag. But find someone like him. We don't need any more Docs. I get it. We don't need any more ex-point guards. We don't need any more Steve Nashes. We need someone, if they've been there before, make sure they've been on the bench before.
Well, where does
kind of off the bench?
Where does Doc Rivers go from here? I mean, is this end of the line? I mean,
could we get Doc back on TV?
Doc was great on TV.
He was.
When Mark Jackson goes to the Bucks, we can get Doc Rivers back on TV. I'm in. That's a win-win.
Doc's going to start a podcast.
How much culpability? I will podcast with you, Doc Rivers. Let's do this.
I'll host that pod.
How much culpability does Doc Rivers have for what happened in the Game 7? I mean, I feel like when you lose this many Game 7s in a row, you're going to get blamed. The Celtics went on a 31-5 run in the third quarter. Like, is it Doc's fault that James Harden refused to attack the basket? Every time he turned the corner, he kicked it out to the 3-point line instead of trying to score. Like, how much can you lay that, Dave? What do you think? How much can you lay that at Doc's feet?
Not much. I mean, there's plenty you can blame Doc for in the game, but I don't think you can blame him for that one game. You can blame him for the bad habits that allowed that game to happen. But again, Embiid could not play defense. He just couldn't. He couldn't move across the lane. James Harden refused to shoot layups. Every single time he had an open layup, he was looking to kick it out. I'm not sure what any coach can do with that.
Yeah.
They laid down and just got destroyed. Not being able to counter Missoula's counter, which was having his guys play better. And by his guys, I really mean one guy. That was the big counter. Jason Tatum, please don't suck today.
Well, there was a defensive twist, right? I mean, it seemed like they
made a big difference.
They were messing with
Williams,
Embiid, the way they guarded Embiid.
Yeah, throwing Rob Williams out back in the starting lineup, sending delayed doubles, actually putting pressure on Embiid, who was hurt, and forcing him into uncomfortable positions. I mean, Jason Tatum actually in that game did a great job defensively as a second guy on Embiid, coming over kind of late and making plays. So yeah, they made some defensive adjustments, but the truth of the matter was that the Sixers needed their guys to play better, and they just couldn't.
Yeah. You also, so Tatum finishes with this 51-point game, the most points ever in a Game 7, smashing a record that had stood for 2 weeks, set by Steph Curry in the first round. Going on to another coach, we can wrap up that game. What did you think, Kelly? What did you think of Monty Williams getting fired? That's another guy. Everyone speaks so highly of him. Of course, you highlight. Well, you got absolutely, power bombed in 2 straight home losses in the playoffs, where you just get humiliated in consecutive seasons. And then you have Matt Ishbia maybe having his fingerprints on the franchise, wanting to do somebody new. What do you think of Monty Williams getting let go?
Just another hilariously awful ownership. Man, Monty Williams has his issues, but he listens and he adapts and he moves players and he's willing to work with the people on his staff. And he's a heck of a coach. He's a coach you can trust when he gets older. He's a coach you can trust in middle age. He's not going to like stay in the same place. And to hear that it happened after game 6 or at any time I mean, I understand Maury getting rid of Doc Rivers now. You got to get out there. There's a million coaches. You may have a guy, something needs to happen. I understand that. I do not understand why the brand new owner of the Suns had to initiate that by getting rid of Monty Williams, who was awful with DeAndre Ayton and took the exact wrong approach with him in every conceivable instance and had it all play out in front of him again. Did the same thing and expected a different outcome and was wrong for that. And screwed up in a bunch of different ways. But to fire him, I don't trust a guy. You saw it all in that owner's face when he wouldn't give that ball back. We know those guys. We've been around those guys. We've had the ball bounce to those guys and had to go get the ball back from those guys. I don't trust those guys. I don't trust that. I'm not Monty Williams' largest fan. But when you sit down next to Isaiah Thomas in any social setting, let alone on national TV,
man,
Ishbia's
going to make himself the coach. That's what it feels like.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that guy's he's going to be like the new Mark Cuban. He's going to be involved in these basketball decisions, I think. Yeah.
Dude,
Cuban didn't fire the coach. Cuban didn't fire his GM. We all thought he would. We thought I remember getting on a flight and making a joke when Cuban bought the team and thinking on the flight being ended, it's going to be Reddit Don Nelson. He kept on those guys for 20 years.
This is a drastic switch for Matt Ishbia, where it seemed like he was the savior all of a sudden. And then like it came along. All right, he replaces Robert Sarver, nowhere to go but up. He trades for Kevin Durant. He announces he's going to broadcast Suns games for free over the air. Now, a little twist. All right, a judge shut that down. Said you got to keep him on Bally's for a while. Ishbia like calls out Dan Gilbert days before Dan Gilbert's son passes away. Ishbia grabs the ball from Jokic. Ishbia now fires Monty Williams. Ishbia has Woj write a thing that's like Ishbia is now making all basketball decisions, and then it's retracted. It's redacted from ESPN. Like they have them take that out of the article. It's no longer on ESPN.com. This feels almost like a movie villain, like swap all of a sudden. We're like, oh, this Ishbia guy's going to be great for the Suns. And now it's like, oh, this guy's going to put himself on the roster soon. I think
he's that kid from The Incredibles. He played college basketball, right? Like he was
did.
like a
Michigan State
kid, bench
guy or
something.
He walked on.
Yeah.
And those aren't always the hardest working guys in the gym. Not always.
Well, not always. No. Yeah. He's like the kid from The Incredibles. He's gonna total heel turn here. It's gonna be great. Look, man. I might have a different opinion on the Monty Williams thing. I think the Monty Williams Ayton relationship failure is actually worth being fired over. That's a number 1
100%.
pick, right? And to lose your number 1 pick in multiple playoffs, that's a problem. You're being a little bit too stubborn, and I'm not as impressed with Monty Williams as like some sort of tactician in a way that it could save my opinion of him. Losing a guy who was important to their team, as important as DeAndre Ayton, and beyond just not being able to motivate him, he lost him completely. He was tuned out by him.
It's not tuned out. He sat out.
Yeah, he was playing Call of Duty.
I'm hurt.
Yeah, he's like, oh, sorry, man, I get this Call of Duty injury. I gotta stay home. Yeah, it was just that in and of itself was probably worthy of being dismissed. But either way, that's the easy solution, right? Like the easy solution is just to say, all right, well, you're out of here, coach. And now they're still probably going to have to figure out what they're doing with DeAndre Ayton. You know, I mean, because how does the locker room deal with DeAndre Ayton being as soft as he is, and then trying to bring him back for another season? I don't know what they do there, but certainly seems like this guy is going to have his finger pushing buttons.
Which of the fired coaches, besides Doc Rivers, which of the fired coaches is going to end up without a team next year? We're talking Monty Williams. We're talking Nick Nurse. Is that everybody? Oh, how about Budenholzer? Yeah, between Budenholzer, Nick Nurse, and Monty Williams, do they all? I mean, I don't know how many openings do we have? Are they all just going to swap? Are they all going to just exchange?
I don't know. Budenholzer seems like a guy who could use a year off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right? or wait for the perfect. He's not in a rush. He might wait for the ideal scenario.
And he also, unfortunately had a horrible tragedy happen in his family, during the playoffs here. I kind of hope Mike Budenholzer takes a year off. Or maybe he goes back to San Antonio.
Grizzlies consultant, just a Grizzlies consultant for next year, hanging out with Taylor Jenkins.
Just get away from the game.
Do the Scotty Brooks. Go spend some time in Barcelona. Go pick up some new offensive tricks. I mean, I think that when you're well, yeah, at least one. But I think that we could maybe see Budenholzer take a year off. I don't know, man. These guys are. I mean, there's a basketball sickness when you're a coach. So maybe Nick Nurse will be the guy that takes a year off, tries to do a podcast, tries to do TV. Makes an album.
Goes tries his hand at screenwriting.
Just comes up with some new logos.
Moves to Hollywood. That's gonna be great. Let's move on from all this coaching talk. Let's discuss the conference finals, and then we'll talk about the lottery. Again, one of my favorite things. We'll do that right after we get a word from our sponsor, the Memphis Grizzlies. Hey, download the brand new official Grind City Media mobile app. Explore new ways to access your favorite Grind City Media content, from your favorite shows and series to news and entertainment. Stay connected with exclusive content at your fingertips with the new Grind City Media mobile app, available in both the Apple and Google Play stores. All right, the conference finals tip off on Tuesday night, right after the lottery. Lakers Nuggets, the Lakers all time 19-4 in the conference finals. The Nuggets are 0-4. Case closed. Lakers have it. No, what are your thoughts, Kelly? What are your thoughts on this? Seems like an amazing matchup between the Nuggets and the Lakers.
Seems like a brutal matchup. Seems like a lot of slapping, banging, driving, not necessarily flopping, but this is going to be. We got really lucky. We had like 4 conference finals level, maybe not with play, but the way that parity has kind of thinned out all these rosters, we had like a solid Elite 8 worth of conference finals. And I think Denver's going to take a little while to catch up to the Lakers. I think the thin air will be something, but just that taking off the donut off the baseball bat and having to go from playing Minnesota and Phoenix to going and having to swing in front of the Lakers and having to do your stuff with AD running around, and God knows what they're doing with Schroeder and Vanderbilt. Whatever Ham has had in mind, they play these guys 4 times by like the first week of January.
Yeah, it was forever ago. Yeah,
it's that a rookie coach is just buzzing right now. He's got so many ideas. And I can't wait to see it. I think the Lakers take a game in Denver in those first 2. And then I think it just is slug can be after that until it ends up in game 7.
Can we get a before and after of Jokic's arms for the series? That's what I need. I need to see a before. Has that always been there? That's what I yell every time I watch a Nuggets game, when I look at some claw mark on his arm.
That one claw mark that he has on
the one that always just keeps reopening. It's like, what is that? Was that there in the first quarter? I don't remember it. Kelly, you kind of just cast aside the Suns, which I think is kind of interesting. You're like, oh, they came from just playing the Timberwolves and the Suns. Most people pick the Suns. I feel like most people pick the Suns. Is this just, I don't know. That feels like, I don't know if I buy it. We thought the Suns were amazing.
We like the Suns, and we wanted Kevin Durant to keep playing basketball. That's why.
That's all it is.
Pick the Suns.
They're different. They're obviously, the Suns maybe more of a finesse team with our boy Ayton, but with Booker and Durant, those guys just scoring everything. The Lakers are the swap. They're bruisers. They
make you just think twice with every pass that you don't make, and you're supposed to make that pass. You're supposed to make that movement, and they just make you hold on to the ball and gum it up, and it's going to take a little while to get used to it.
I honestly look at the Lakers and I think like they have taken care of business in each of their game ones. Like they came out, and maybe LeBron knows, maybe it's one of those basketball IQ things where he's like, gotta get this one. I'm gonna go hard. Much like in game 6, he's like, I'm gonna play perfect tonight because this is my home game. I gotta win this one. But also I think the Nuggets, their offense is so much better than like the Grizzlies were. The Grizzlies offense is putrid. And the Warriors we thought was going to be good, but the Warriors couldn't hit a shot, it turned out. But we give a lot of credit to the Lakers in guarding the paint and AD just being a monster on the inside. So I think maybe the adjustment is going to be hard for the Lakers too. Dave, what do you think?
This is like a heavyweight fight.
Yeah.
I mean, the fascinating matchup, it's about the Denver offense versus the Lakers defense. And because I'm not worried about the Lakers offense all that much. And I actually think the Nuggets defense is better than people give them credit for. But the Nuggets should be able to score against anyone.
Yeah.
And Anthony Davis has played like the defensive player of the year all playoffs. That is it. It's Jokic and AD. And I tend to be with Kelly here. I think that the physicality that the Lakers have is going to be so different than what Minnesota and Phoenix had in the interior.
Yeah.
That the paint play is going to determine the series. This is an old school kind of basketball matchup that we've got because it's going to be, so much in the paint. I don't know. I mean, the Lakers defense is really fucking good.
It's amazing.
Sorry,
it's amazing.
Sure you get that timestamp.
Yeah. Timestamp 31 minutes. I got it. You're good.
Yeah.
I look at the series from the Nuggets when like they're changing venues from playing the Timberwolves, changing the Suns, now going against this bruiser of a Lakers squad. It's like it reminds me of a pickup game I joined where I'd never played a pickup game where I was like all 230-pound 45-year-olds, where I was just like, good Lord, these people screen constantly. And it's just like, it just shoulders into like I was playing in some finesse pickup game where I was like, no one's fouling. It was all like 30-year-olds who were all like 180 and lower. And it's like, all right, I might set a screen. I'll box you out, but like, I'm not laying the lumber. And then I started playing with old men and I was like, good God, these guys.
Quickest way to get open, KP.
Yeah. So that I do think it's going to be an adjustment period for the Nuggets trying to get used to how good the Lakers are on defense. Let's flip it to the other conference. I have consistently, let's go with all year, underappreciated, undercovered the Miami Heat. I admitted they might have been the team I watched the least of in the regular season. And so I'm just looking at their stats and their record and I'm like, well, they can't be that good. And now they're an 8 seed going up against the Celtics. I feel like the Heat have swagger. I don't think the Celtics have swagger anymore. On paper, it seems like the Celtics would crush them just from the volume of 3-pointers they're going to shoot. I don't know how the Heat keep up, but like, do you think the Heat, just their moxie, their Jimmy Butler-ness, their unbelievable coaching mismatch between Spoelstra and Mazzulla are going to hang in the series? Dave, what do you think about the Heat trying to upset the Celtics?
Well, number one, you did not do an inadequate job of covering them. I literally
didn't watch them. I don't know what more I could do.
Because they were playing possum all year.
Okay.
I mean, Jimmy Butler has now done this to us multiple times where it's just, I'm not going to shoot threes. I'm not really going to even play all that hard. He still is good and had a great regular season. And then they become a different animal when the playoffs start. I just, from an analysis standpoint, it's a waste of time to watch the Miami Heat in the regular season.
They've made the conference finals 3 of the last 4 years.
Spoelstra lives there.
I mean, this is like Jimmy Butler leaves the Sixers, the process Sixers, whoops. And now it's like the Heat are just back in the conference final. Like they've been, I mean, sure, they had LeBron for a while. LeBron owned the conference finals for a solid decade in the East, but like he left.
A while ago.
By the way, the Heat did not tank. The Heat did not go into the draft. I mean, they nailed some. I mean, they drafted Adebayo, late in the lottery. But it's just an unbelievable franchise accomplishment. I mean, organizational accomplishment to be back in the conference finals once again. Kelly, do you think it's going to be a series that the moxie of the Heat can overcome maybe the talent disparity?
The 3-against-2 thing hurts a lot. Like you said, that's tough. I watched a lot of the Heat in the regular season. They're always on early.
That's because you're a basketball god.
Well, no, I'm not saying I may have watched them more than the beautiful, brightly lit Kings in their beam. It's
Yeah.
just you'd watch them and you go, how are they down 12 besides the 3-2 thing and like maybe the occasional free throw disparity because they were just so fun to watch. I loved watching Bam Adebayo against mediocre teams running that college whatever. Dave can tell you what it is. It's just pretty to me. So I watched a lot of it. Boston has a switch. Boston has a real strong switch defensively. And again, a rookie coach in their first series. I like that stuff. I'm into that stuff. I'm into everyone's first ideas. What they have in their dyno, what they have in their script that they've been waiting. And so I believe me, Jimmy Butler's my favorite everything. I want him to rub it in
He's
Reinsdorf's
so
face,
cool.
but I don't know. It's tough. Boston's very good, and it pains me to say that.
If we're ranking the 3 coolest players in the series, all right, we have Jimmy Butler 1. Who's 2?
Jimmy Butler, and 3 I do Jimmy Butler, and
okay,
then
all top 3.
Tough
Does Haslam 2? Can we
5 might be Rob Williams.
Rob Williams is pretty cool. Cool guy.
Yeah. Rob Williams very cool. I'll
give
Jimmy
to show
Butler
up to the Celtics
4.
for like his first summer after being drafted. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, he didn't know how to set an alarm. I'm into that. I can get behind that. Yeah. I mean, the talent disparity, but I've been wrong all year. So maybe this will be just the heat, knowing what to do. I mean, speaking of the Kings, Kelly, you mentioned the Kings a second ago. I was reminded through social media about all these Kings trade offers that they made for Ben Simmons back in the day. Like not even back in the day. We're talking like a year and a half ago.
18 months ago, yeah.
They tried to offer De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield for Ben Simmons. And the Sixers are like, nah, man, no, we can't have De'Aaron Fox. We might send him to a different team. They're like, what about Halliburton, Hield, and second Harrison Barnes for Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons?
Fox
Sixers
would
are like,
work with
no,
Embiid.
no.
Come on, they're just you can't have a ball dominant guard that left-hander working with Joel Embiid out there. James is available. Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
I mean, whoops for the Sixers there. Whoops.
Just whoops after whoops after whoops after whoops, and that's what happens when you hire a bunch of dookie hedge funds guys who then hire another dookie.
If they hadn't traded those 2 second-round picks for Ish Smith back in the day, the process would have worked. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
The lottery, guys. Let's talk about the lottery. So some franchises are hoping to have their futures transformed in Tuesday night's lottery. Again, join us at playback.tv/Fastbreak Breakfast to watch all the excitement over there. We have the Pistons, Rockets, Spurs with the best odds of landing Wembanyama. Also, Charlotte, Portland, Orlando have pretty good odds as well. Most importantly, and this has become maybe a podcasting trope, but I don't care. I need to know what are your preferred rankings of who should win the lottery. Maybe you can give me a top 4 or 5. I'm fine with. I'm definitely going to share mine, what I'm rooting for. Kelly, what are your lottery preferences for this evening?
It was the Thunder up until that shot of Dagnall shooting the ball off his foot, which is fine.
I didn't even know Dagnall did this. The Thunder are too long of odds. No, thank you, sir. I mean, I do like that they were good this year, but that's fair. So the Thunder have a less than a 2% chance of getting Wembanyama.
I would honestly love it if Portland jumped up and they were able to fashion some sort of nice ease out, Reggie Miller ease out with Damian Lillard and not put too much pressure on anyone. And Portland can finally get a savior that doesn't break his foot in a million pieces, which knock on marble, it seems like Victor, he looks pretty solid for the 12 seconds we've seen.
I mean, have you considered the curse of what happens to Wembanyama if he goes to Portland?
No, I don't. I'm done with that. I'm over it. Greg Oden looked like he was, I was 100% draft Oden over Durant. I was like, you got to take a chance on a 7'2" guy. Go do it. But he looked like his feet were going to break in college. That doesn't look like that with Victor. Sam Bowie was like 26 years old when they drafted him. Maybe been 28. I don't know. He had a lot of surgery for the drafts. Same with Roy. That was the only reason he dropped a couple of spots. Is because people were worried about his knees. So yeah, I think I would love it. I want the Bulls to win. Chicago doesn't deserve it. Not in a million years. Not in
Chicago. Okay, so on why do you mean that Chicago doesn't deserve it?
Poorly run franchise. You know, the Miami Heat deserve it. The Chicago Bulls do not.
So
The Miami.
I think I don't know how to punish incompetence. I don't like the Bulls. They don't anger me anymore. Like maybe they used to. Like I would argue that the Bulls, if we're going to talk like lottery karma, the Bulls kind of deserve it because they went for it. They had a chance to do a Dallas Mavericks. It would have been smarter for them to shut it down, but they went for it. They tried to make the playoffs. They were leading the Heat in the final 3 minutes of that play-in game, and they went from no playoffs to, what are we talking? An 8% chance of getting a top 4 pick. Otherwise, it goes to the Magic. They keep paying for the Nick Vucevic deal. By the way, Vucevic, unrestricted free agent. They already gave up Franz Wagner. Now they're giving up. There's like a 90% chance they're going to give away the 11th or 12th pick to the Magic. I think the Bulls, they're one of the swing teams, maybe along with the Mavericks, where you have a chance at sheer ecstasy or nothing. And I feel like the Bulls, they deserve, honestly, to get maybe just 4th, maybe not Wembanyama, but like 3rd or 4th. Hook them up, man. They tried to win. That's the point of the game, is trying to win.
I'm okay with keeping it, just not Victor.
Yeah, okay. So we think the Bulls deserve 3 or 4. That's fine. So let's say, Kelly, you want Portland. I like the Portland one. I like the idea of Dame. Outside of my desire as a Grizzlies fan for Wembanyama not to come to the Western Conference. Yeah, going playing with Dame, that sounds good. That sounds good for the league. Sounds good for basketball. Good to watch.
Oh, they would trade
the
Dame,
Eastern Conference in 5 years.
Yeah, they would trade Dame.
There's no chance they would trade Dame.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think
if they got Wembanyama,
the next timeline?
No. I don't think they should, honestly. Give me Dame and Wembanyama. Dame's got 2-3 more years.
But then in 5 years, when Dame's not there and you're ready to win with Victor Wembanyama, you don't have anything. Like this is the problem that the Mavericks
have process all over again, Dave.
But it's the problem that the Mavericks have run into with Luka. Being too good too fast after getting one of these generational guys. You don't get the pieces to go around him. This is why the Thunder
That's not what happened with Luka, Dave.
Be a good team.
The Mavericks kept making trades. They kept throwing things away to bring guys in.
But it was because he was too good that they had to do it. I think Dame and Victor, that's too good of a team. You have to try to win in the next 3 years if you're keeping Dame. Whereas you could move on from Dame if you get Victor Wembanyama and probably jump
over there with an
the
MVP
rebuild.
Point guard and 6 rookies on his roster this year going, no, I think you should go for it instead. I think I didn't want that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm putting John on the same level as Luka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
there's one right answer here.
Okay.
Guys,
Who is it?
And look, it's the simplest one.
Yep.
The future of basketball depends on this, guys.
Okay.
This guy could completely change the sport like Steph Curry did. The San Antonio Spurs are the only landing spot for Victor Wembanyama.
Such a
I
homer.
understand it's boring. It's not even being a homer. I just want to make sure he lands with an organization that doesn't have any xenophobes. I want to make sure this guy doesn't have too many mouths to feed on his team. So Houston, get out of here. I want to make sure that he's in an environment that knows how to foster the development of a generational center.
What about Wembanyama playing alongside Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., and James Harden? That doesn't get you excited for next year's Houston Rockets?
No, but Keldon
Think
Johnson,
of all the offensive rebounds they're going to be available
Devin
for
Vassell.
I don't mind. I don't mind
name in any of this. The generational center thing helps when you have David Robinson playing alongside you for the first 5 or 6 seasons.
I mean,
they got Zach Collins.
They already got Tim Duncan. I mean, I can recognize the Spurs. I like their organization, what they're doing. They tanked pretty hard this year, even though it was more of a ethical tank where they're like, we're still gonna play our guys. We're not gonna. I mean, I guess you could argue they kind of benched Devin Vassell. He wasn't playing back-to-backs because of his injury stuff. So maybe he could.
The last couple of weeks were up.
Yeah.
They had a lot of knee issues.
They were.
It was a classic tank. It wasn't anything.
It was a tasteful tank. It wasn't. It wasn't as ostentatious as the Mavericks their last 2 games. So what do y'all think of the Mavericks? I mean, they had a slim chance to make the play-in. They needed the Grizzlies basically to lose to a Bucks team that was playing nobody, and so they decided, hey, listen, we have if we avoid the play-in, if we dive, if we take a fall, we have a 66% chance at keeping our 10th pick. We have an 8% or even higher. We have a doing the math poorly right now, like 13% chance or 12% chance or so of jumping into the top 4. And we have a 20% chance of losing our pick anyways. We'll take this 80% chance of keeping a pick over a long shot to make the play-in. A lot of people are upset about it. I kind of upset about it. I'm like, you have Luka Doncic. Why aren't you fighting to the last man? The fighting to the last percentage point of possibility of just getting in the tournament. I would be okay if they kept 10th. I would be outraged, I guess, if they did jump up. Is this all overblown? Because you had the other teams like the Trailblazers making an embarrassment of themselves for the second straight year, totally humiliating themselves for 2 consecutive seasons post-trade deadline. You have the Pistons who were, they had the Cade injury, but they were tanking hard. You had Rockets and Spurs tanking hard, Hornets tanking hard. Dave, what do you think about just the morality of the Mavericks being rewarded in a sense?
Well, I hated them bailing on trying to win. I mean, look at the Miami Heat.
Look at the Lakers.
Heat. Look at the Lakers. They're in the conference finals, man. And when you got a guy like Luka, I mean, they were just in the conference finals, and you know how different playoff basketball is. Maybe you figure something out. Maybe you run into a good matchup. Maybe there's some injury luck. Next thing you know, you're in the conference finals. So I hated that. So that makes me not want them to get the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
But you know what? Luka and Victor might be pretty fun together.
I mean, Luka and Victor would be a huge win. I feel like for the NBA, it'd be a massive win for the league. As far as like you think, oh, Kelly, you're shaking your head. You think
I don't want a Victor
spread?
The Dallas Mavericks have 25 years of terrible uniform and logo choices. I don't want Victor in any of the current uniforms.
Oh, he'd look good in that green.
If you want to do like an old school Mark Aguirre uniform, and if you want to take Mark Cuban out of the process, that's fine.
Here's who I want to win. I want the Wizards to win. Purely under this team is not. I don't think I guess they are poorly run, but like they approach their NBA seasons like, let's try to build the best team possible. They don't maybe have foresight.
Poorly. Right. They do it.
Yeah, they don't have like a long range vision or a plan to how to get good. But every summer they're like, man, I want to win as many games as possible.
Well, they're perpetually in the 9. They have the 9 pick every single year. Yeah. It's hard to get that high end talent with the 9 pick every year. This is why we have the tanking situation that we do.
Why the Kings were in the playoffs for 7 years.
You might be right here, Keith.
I mean, they're in the I believe they're
choice.
in the slot where the Grizzlies jumped up and got Ja. So it's they have a pretty good shot to get one of those top 2. I would like to see it as far as a just rejuvenation of that franchise. I guess they're a team I have no ill will towards. I guess when you're mediocre and never a threat, people stop fearing you or being upset by you. So like, I wouldn't mind if like the Wizards got it. The Pacers, the most ethical franchise in sports as far as attempting to win and never bottom out. This was the closest I think they've ever gotten in like 20 something years to being like, I mean, last year's was hilarious at the end of the year. They gave up like 140 a game for a solid 2 weeks, but
Pacers contribute to the right organizations, I would say, more than most other teams. That's, they have the best building in the NBA.
They have more conference finals appearance during the process than the Sixers do.
There you go. Yes, that would be tremendous. I would love to be an hour away from that.
If we're going conspiracy theories, for the good of the television networks, for the good of the TV contracts, what are the landing spots that would be the best for the league? I think the Dallas one would be amazing. Maybe there's an argument you should add Victor to a team like the Wizards, who currently have no television draw. For the good of the league, as far as the coffers of the investors and the owners. Where would the conspiracy theorists say a frozen envelope situation would occur? Kelly, what do you think?
I think the odd one is Charlotte. I'm not as convinced that you have to put you got to put them in New York, you got to put them in LA anymore. Yeah. It's just we're all on our phones wherever we are. But Charlotte needs some credibility and quickly, even without Jordan going anywhere. So that I just think Victor's hard to ruin, so I don't mind tossing him to these 8 different teams. And just as long as the Rockets don't get him, I'm okay with it. But Charlotte, I think, would be an interesting frozen rope there.
Well, the LaMelo Ball, Victor Wembanyama would be at least league past
I mean,
League Pass
LaMelo's
junkies
going to
would
keep
hook it up.
spraining his ankle on Victor's feet, so I don't know about that. He may have to
You
get
gotta
traded.
watch out
Maybe
for those
to maybe
feet
to
in there,
Portland
man.
for Dame.
Yeah.
And get that pairing going.
What do you think, Dave? Where's somewhere if you were
I
running the league, Vince McMahon style, pulling all the strings, and you wanted the best TV product, what were you assigning him?
I mean, I think it's got to be like it'd be the Bulls, right?
Chicago,
put him
yeah,
on
that's
a
what I'm thinking
team that's
too. Yeah.
already almost okay, and then maybe he gets them into the playoffs year one. It's a large market, and the Bulls, and that's a marquee franchise. At least it used to be. That's a team that used to be the world's favorite basketball team. You know, Michael Jordan made that a global brand, and we've just accepted that the Chicago Bulls are for some reason less than the Lakers and the Knicks, who the Knicks don't even have don't have the storied history that the Bulls have. I mean, the Bulls got 6 rings in the heyday of the league and really were responsible for bringing basketball and the NBA to the rest of the world. So I think the Bulls, if you're the league, you're saying, you know what? Let's fix this thing. Let's send them this generational talent that's going to, completely transform basketball, and let's all profit. But the Charlotte thing, like you said, even if Michael Jordan's not leaving, that team needs some juice.
Yeah.
It just needs some juice. And Victor Wembanyama would definitely give it a lot.
I mean, we need basketball in the South. Yeah. I mean, that's just, the pro game needs establishing there. There's always been something there. It needs reigniting. As a Chicago guy, I would love for Victor to be there because it would influence Jerry Reinsdorf to sell the team at the highest price, and he might get rid of the Sox and send the same sort of package. I don't know. I don't care what sort of Matt he should be. If it shows up in Chicago, it's going to be better than Reinsdorf. So yeah, let's juggle some lottery balls.
Portland too. So Portland the Trailblazers may
the
be
weird,
for sale.
yeah, the weird.
This is all right. So you've got a scenario where Charlotte could potentially be for sale. If they get Victor Wembanyama, they're probably worth a little bit more.
Yeah, of course.
Portland, same. Got a new TV deal coming. I don't know. This is funny to think about this all in an asset play, and kind of makes me sad that this generational talent, who I can't wait to watch basketball, it's got me thinking about the business side of this.
We've been talking about him for 10 minutes. We haven't mentioned a single NBA head coach the entire time. Not a single offense or defense setup, nothing like that. We are the anti-NFL.
I would say, yeah. Well, with Victor Wembanyama, I just want him to be with a coach that is going to, meet him where he's at. He doesn't need any of this American, like, hard-nosed BS coaching stuff. He needs someone that's organized, going to put a system in place around him. This is why I trust the Spurs.
Well, I mean, but I was going to start to interrupt all these franchises. They're basically waiting to see what happens with the lottery, and then they're going to get their coach. I would assume. I just like the Pistons don't have a coach, right? They're still without a coach. No. Yeah. So the Pistons, we haven't mentioned the Pistons again. The best odds of anybody to get Victor. I mean, I like Victor going there. That seems fun. And then it's like, which coach do you get? Which coach is this? A Budenholzer? Would Budenholzer be like, you know what? I'm back in.
Could we get Mike D'Antoni? Mike D'Antoni, give him the first 2 seasons of.
Is Mike D'Antoni as old as Jack Nicholson? What's the?
Are
they both 82?
No, he's not quite that old. But I just I don't know. I worry about the wrong coach.
Yes,
and the wrong message. And Detroit, I don't know who they're going to hire. The names that they've kind of pulled out there, I just worry sticking, a foreign player with some of these guys. I'll just be honest about it.
Let's hire Jerry Stackhouse from Nashville, from his Vanderbilt coaching job.
Just that corporate Tom Gores icky way of like what guy is going to.
All right, if we're ranking owners and we pull out the Tom Gores, not ideal.
No, it's just you have like Tim Duncan was a swimmer. Like he wasn't. Yeah, he stayed 4 years at Wake Forest, but you have to have a coach.
Olajuwon was a goalie.
Someone when he's driving to practice that makes you want to go to practice, that makes you want to play basketball every day. And you can't burn this kid out or disrupt his influence on the sport. It is perilous, but I'm not too scared outside of the team I don't want to name again.
Yeah. Let's move on. We didn't mention the Magic. Basically, they have a very good chance. They got a lot of lottery balls to work with. The Jazz also we didn't mention. I think all of us are prejudiced against sending Victor to.
I'd be okay with it.
That.
I actually
okay,
would be
great.
okay with it. I think him and Walker Kessler together would
And
be
put Markkanen on the
awesome.
bench.
No, play all three of them.
Play all three at the same
Yes,
time.
100%.
That would be amazing.
Incredible.
I mean, I would watch a
But we got to get new
games.
jerseys. I mean,
Get rid of those.
The Jazz highlighter
yellow
jerseys actually remind me of watching like if it is the French league or the Belgrade.
Yeah.
Like, what is these jerseys?
They only look good because cool players are wearing them. That's the only
when
reason
Jordan Clarkson looks good in every jersey. It's just
Yes.
it's fine. Let's we got to wrap up. Let's move to the awards segment of the program. The International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award. You guys know it's given to the worst performance in a box score. These are the worst shooting performances from the last week of the playoffs. We have a few honorable mentions. There's RJ Barrett went 1 for 10, Klay Thompson 3 for 12, James Harden 4 for 16, Joel Embiid 5 for 18, Jimmy Butler went 7 for 22. The three nominees we're picking between. This is for the worst shooting performance. And we can't, you guys may not know, we can't consider what we saw with our eyes. This is only what's on the printed box score on the back page of the USA Today. So our first nominee is Jason Tatum. In a Game 6 win, he was 5 for 21. We all know he was 1 for 14 to start that game and then went off in the fourth quarter and won it. That's inadmissible. 5 for 21, 19 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 4 turnovers, 1 personal foul. Our next nominee is Julius Randle. In a Game 6 loss, 3 for 14, 15 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 3 turnovers, 2 personal fouls. And then finally, Game 6 Klay Thompson in defeat, 3 for 19, 8 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, no turnovers, 2 personal fouls. So we have Jason Tatum, 5 for 21, 19 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Julius Randle, 3 for 14, 15 points, 11 boards, 3 assists. Klay Thompson, 3 for 19, 8 points, 5 assists. This is easy, guys.
Pains me to say it's Klay Thompson.
It's not. Yeah, I didn't have to give all those caveats about none of those instructions to the jurors were needed. This was easily Klay Thompson. Congratulations, buddy.
I gotta have the talk with him this summer.
What's the talk? Hey, man, you're trending towards Jordan Poole.
Yeah,
we need less Jordan Poole from you.
It's a reduced role sort of thing. Like he's got a contract coming up. Gonna have to come off the bench, maybe. I mean, it's just that the playoffs were rough on Klay.
Yeah, real
rough. I think we saw some of the age and maybe even some of the injuries. It kind of playing against the Kings and their speed. He just looked old, and that's beyond just the poor performance shooting against the Lakers. But he looked old against the Kings. So
yeah. Well, congratulations, Klay Thompson, on your International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award. Finally, gentlemen, par fadeaway. What's the thing just you're looking forward to in the conference finals or in the draft lottery? Again, I'll remind our listeners, playback.tv/Fastbreak Breakfast tonight for the lottery. Also, Wednesday night, I believe Joey Devine and John Burr will be doing a playback for Heat and Celtics. I'll start. Thing I'm looking forward to is just it's got to be that Jokic and AD battle. How much is AD actually guarding Jokic? Does AD limit the effectiveness of Jokic in the paint? Can Jokic get AD out on the perimeter a little bit more? And so when those guys actually go head to head, I'm very excited to see it. It's a Kong versus Godzilla level Titanic clash. I think I'm looking forward to that the most. Kelly, what are you looking forward to in the coming week?
I think we're all looking to that paint battle. It's not going to be a paint battle. It's not going to be jump hooks over each other. It's going to be, Bruce Brown making an extra pass and Nikola Jokic being able to get it over AD, whoever AD is covering. So my thing that I'm looking forward to is no calls. I'm enjoying so much them letting the play go on and not rewarding every bit of contact with a call in either direction. So I'm hoping that continues because there's going to be a lot of stuff in this Nuggets. I'm not even the Western Conference Series is like the talented Eastern Conference. It's going to be linebacker stuff. So I'm hoping the referees rise up and rise to the competition that's ahead of them and do what they're charged with doing, which is keeping control of the game. And Denver and the Lakers will do that. They'll be fine. They don't need their help. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Just the same referee.
Let him play. Let him play. Dave, what are you looking forward to?
If I can move to the Eastern Conference, you guys kind
Please.
of covered the West. Coaching versus talent. Miami Heat have the superior coach, and they have Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and a bunch of scrap heap. My favorite guys, right? Like it's a bunch of guys who will be in the running for the Danny Green Award, and against the Boston Celtics, who have the superior talent, the stable of talent that the Boston Celtics have. I mean, how many guys you go through beyond Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, and let's say you take the Jays out.
I mean,
it's just
wouldn't Peyton
the next
Pritchard
5 guys?
Wouldn't Peyton Pritchard maybe be playing over Gabe
He would
Vincent?
be playing for Miami.
I don't know. I mean, Gabe Vincent's a good player, but
he would be maybe playing for the Miami Heat.
And
so, this is the Heat may lose because talent normally wins. Like the faster horses win the NBA races.
Oh.
But I think Eric Spoelstra is a good enough coach that he can get this to 7 games. And if you get to a game 7, man, you've got a puncher's shot. And I think the Miami Heat, it's a compelling story because they don't have the talent advantage. They don't have the shooting advantage. They don't have the defensive advantage. They only have the coaching advantage and the Jimmy Butler advantage. I love that. That's a throwback.
Those are big advantages. Youth saying this maybe could go 7. That reminds me, I got to remind our Patreon supporters, make sure you fill out your predictions for the Stone Cold Locks. That contest is continuing right now. By the way, shout out to Cam, who is leading the way right now. He's in first place after the first 2 rounds. Second place is Dallas Swindell. Third place, Ian Walker. Fourth, Adam P. Fifth place, another guy named Keith, who's not me, my sworn enemy, Patreon supporter Keith, in 5th place. So make sure you submit your predictions in the Stone Cold Locks Playoff Challenge before tonight's game kicks off. Anyways, if you're in the Grizzlies area, don't miss this. We have the Hot Wheels Monster Trucks live glow party coming to the FedEx Forum for 3 epic performances featuring your favorite Hot Wheels Monster Trucks. It's Saturday and Sunday, November 4th and 5th. There will be 3 performances on those days. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com or the FedEx Forum box office. If you want to support our show, do it at Patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. To get the best internet basketball writing, go to Kelly's Substack, the secondarrangement.substack.com. Did I get that right?
Yes, and thank you so much.
I wasn't sure if it was abbreviated somewhere. The secondarrangement.substack.com. You can listen to
it's TSA.substack.
TSA, there we go. TSA.substack.com for the best internet basketball writing. And you can hear Dave over on The Athletic. Anyways, you guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.